This is Goldman here of Dura-Tape. I want to show you about wet and stick and how we apply it. We use water to activate the adhesive. We've come up with a device called the saturator. The saturator has a handle if you want to use it as such, or I like to put it on my belt as you see here, and I just fill up the canister with water and I roll through what I need. I simply take the tape. I take there's a scored edge here, right down the center, and I line that up with the joint, the span, and then I simply trace that joint, and then I spread it, just like you see it. Here, I'm going to show you again. This time I'm going to go laterally. I line up the scored edge from one seam to the other. I trace it, and funny, you can already see some water with some adhesive here. So what I do is I lay it on, and then I just smooth it over, like so. And if I don't hit the joint totally straight, it's okay. If I were to do this without this demonstration, I should show you this before the glue sets up. I would probably fill this in here as this is popping. But what I love about wet and stick, and why one of our design aspects of it, is that when you have wallboard, as you see here, it has a face paper before you get to the gypsum. The adhesive is absorbed by this face paper, so that it becomes a unit, a unified, the two panels are unified. In this way, as the house or whatever structure has shifting or settling, it works together. The tape keeps them working together. So even if you put compound on top of it, that's not going to be the moving factor. The moving factor is going to be the studs, and it's going to be the wallboard. So you will not get any cracking or any kind of show of the seam from that aspect. What I've showed you so far is with butt joints. Butt joints are obviously two cut pieces of wallboard, as you see here, that are put together to be joined. Here, this is a bevel joint. You can see the shadow right here, here and here. This is so that this area can accommodate compound. And again, I'm just going right down the center, and then I'm smoothing it out afterward. Alright, now that I've taped this, just to give you an idea, what I'm showing you about the bevel is that when you put your knife across, you can actually see space between the knife and the board. That's the float area you have to take care of. Over here, this is a butt joint. There is no float area, or very little. I mean, unless one board is up higher than the other, and this one's pretty even. We probably have to float from, let's say, here to here. Whereas in most cases, you would have to use a 12-inch knife. You can get away with using a 6 to 8-inch knife here to float for your first bed coat over top of the tape. Here you would use you'd probably still stay with your 12-inch knife, and then you'd be able to go down gradually through each coating. Okay, I want to show you where the bend is of the board, and so I put a little shoe polish on my knife, as opposed to here. You can see that the mark goes all the way across. So this is a much finer amount of a smaller amount of compound that's going to be needed. So wet and stick is perfect, because as you can see, I'm going to throw the knife in there. If I put wet and stick, line this up so, here and here, and then trace the joint, and then spread it out like I do. Now I'm going to take my knife and cut it like so. So this is going to be, I'm going to need to float from here to here the compound. And wet and stick on a butt joint is pretty simple. Again, my marks with the crease, just throw it in there, trace it there, and then I spread it out. You can see that I'm going to be able to float it much tighter here on this joint, on a butt joint. So you're saving, what I'm trying to point out is you're saving a tremendous amount of compound here, and here all your compound is going to be floating out here. Okay, when I say that I follow the joint down here, you can see right here where the line is of the joint, and that indentation, and that gets covered up obviously with the compound. But most importantly, this actually forms a wall, because when this is dry, it hardens. Okay, so now we know about the indentation, about the drying of the tape, about the shifting of the walls. Now there's one other thing. Remember, we use water to activate the tape, and water promotes fungus, bacterials. We have a mold and mildew inhibitor in the tape, and this will keep the mold and mildew from penetrating the wall board and growing. I've shown you all about wet and stick and how easy it is to apply and the benefits. But what I didn't tell you is, in the standard present method, there's a lot of energy that's used to lift these heavy buckets of compound. You need to be able to stir that compound with a mixer. You need electricity to mix that mixer. You need a hawk, you need a knife, you need a pan, you need other blades. With wet and stick, the most you need is our saturator tool and your hands. That's all you need. Alright, what I want to show you is our wet stick saturator. Now, you put the tape on, put the tape on, and you put the tape retention bar on, like so, and we have a hole there. This is just to keep the tape steady. You know, I've wound it through this hole, around to the roller, and then out. Then, what I do is I take a little bucket, fill it full of water, and then I attach this to here. Okay, I've attached the bucket or water to the spindler, and now I'm putting it on my belt. You could use it on with your hand if you want. Then I'm taking this, what I call a stabilizer strap, and I'm wrapping this around my leg so that I don't tip the bucket of water. Then I've started this right here, so I'll take off about 5 inches, and there, I'm ready to tape. I like putting the tape up. Some people like putting it down. I like it because that way when I pull the tape, it goes against the backside rather than against the glue. That's just me. Other people do different things. But what I also want to demonstrate to you is we have a new device that we're working on, and it's not ready. It's not in production yet. And I line this up, and I line this one up, and I just trace this down. But what I have now is I have our tape slinger, our tape slinger sponge blade, and this sponge blade helps it get it into the center. And then if I don't think I've wet it far enough, I could do the glue, the sponge, and there we have it.